Story 1. Today I effed up by making out with my best friend in class. I don't use Reddit, I just watch these stories on TikTok, so don't attack me if the formation isn't correct. I'm a 14-year-old guy still in 8th grade. I know what I did is wrong for my age, but don't act like you weren't horny as a teenager. And my friend is also a 14-year-old male in my class. On to the actual story. So today I was just scrolling on TikTok in the back of the class with my friend because the lesson was boring pre-usual, and we come across this video with a text saying, "Making out with the homies in class." Something like snapped in my brain, and my friend and I both look at each other just wondering who's gonna say something first. So he says, "Bro, you wanna make out on break when the teachers and students are all out?" I genuinely thought he was joking and laughed, until I realized he was serious. I mean, I wasn't gonna say no, so I agreed. Around 12:45, the classroom is empty and it's just me and my friend. We head to the make since there was this long table to lean on, and just in case someone looks through the window. I don't really know what and how this happened, but in the span of 2 minutes, we are full on making out, hands in the shirt like we finna F. After like 5 minutes of this, we hear some weird noises like someone's trying to get in, but the room is locked. So we continued thinking it was just another kid trying to open it, then left. Literally not even a minute later, I hear a key unlock the door, and I hear the wind from outside. Before we could turn around and act like nothing happened, my teacher and a group of kids were just staring. I quickly picked up my phone and tried to play it off like we were just watching something, but my teacher wasn't having it and asked her to meet her in the principal's office. Us, being literal idiots, came up with 2 different lies to tell the vice principal, so she definitely knew what happened. It's around 5:10 same day, and I don't know what the vice principal did, but she said she was going to look further into this and will talk with some people. I haven't heard from my friend since the day was over, no text or snap. My friend's parents get home around 3:30, the same time we get off, and I'm scared the vice principal called our parents. Wish my luck my parents get home at around 6. I mean, first off, I hope you live in a place that is not, like, weirdly prejudiced against that stuff, and I hope your parents aren't prejudiced and weird against that kind of stuff, and also, I don't know, your kids, I mean, you said it, teenagers, they do crap like this. You shouldn't do it in school, shouldn't do it in a locked room. I don't know. This feels, honestly, like the kind of story that you'll be telling and laughing about, 10 years from now, just like, oh my god, can you believe us? I wouldn't let it worry you too much, I hope. Story 2. I've just been betrayed by the 2 people I trusted most. I'm sorry if this is annoying, I can't stop thinking about it, and for some reason I feel more secure venting it to strangers rather than the people who know me and can judge me more in depth. I won't lie, I've been suspecting my fiancé was having an affair, but I didn't have any solid evidence to accuse him. Even then, I had a feeling that I didn't want to dig any deeper because I was scared in case what I was suspecting was true. 12 days ago, I came home from visiting my mom's and I headed upstairs to wake my fiancé, as he had a habit of sleeping in way past 2 p.m. and then complained that I didn't wake him. I open the door and all I see is my practically naked sister rushing to try and get out of a lingerie bodysuit that belonged to me. I don't know how to explain it, but my mind just went blank, like whatever I was thinking about beforehand suddenly disappeared. You know when you stand up so fast and your head just gets a little dizzy? That's what I felt alongside the feeling of sickness brewing in my stomach. I stood there for a solid 30 seconds looking at the 2 people I trusted most and looked more shocked than I felt. My fiancé jumped out of bed and suddenly came up with excuses. It went from, "It was an accident," to, "I was lonely and needed intimate relief." I should probably add my best friend killed herself 2 weeks ago. The girl I knew for over 15 years was suddenly out of my life, and even though I'm surrounded by people, I've told my fiancé about how alone, devastated, and guilty that I couldn't have done anything to help her. I just left. I didn't take my car because at that point my eyes were about to start flooding. I walked to my friend's 10-minute and confided in her about what happened. The amount of grief I felt from not only losing a BFF, but losing my relationship with my fiancé and sister within the same 2-week period. Now that I'm sitting down to write this, I don't know if any of these relationships will ever be mended or could ever go back to the way they were. I don't understand why my sister, of all people, would do this. There was never any favoritism toward any of us for her to feel spite. I've never intentionally tried to hurt her. I gave her shelter when she had no place to go, and despite her not paying a single penny, I bought her food that she liked, made sacrifices in my own home for her. Hell, she kept ranting about how our living room walls gave her a headache, they were white, so I took time out of my day to paint it a nice gray color. My fiancé too. I gave that man everything. I was willing to have kids with him, despite the fact I always wanted to be child-free. I was going to start a family so that he was happy. I gave him comfort whenever something bad happened to him. I spent hours watching unfunny movies that he seemed to find hilarious. I even gave him an effing locket with our anniversary photo in it that he decided to wear while sticking it in my sister. These last few days I've gone from sadness to being angry, then disgusted, and it's a constant cycle I've not been able to get out of. Despite being smoking free for 2 years, I've picked up a cigarette. I used to be heavily addicted to smoking from 16 to 21. I'm currently 23. There are moments when I go to do something but automatically lose interest, and even over dinner, I don't know how to explain it properly as I've never felt this way, but I'm bored of eating. I have to physically force myself to eat sometimes, and I have no idea what's going on to my body at this very moment. For some reason, it feels as if I've gone into hibernation. I sleep almost 17 hours a day, and even for the rest of those hours, I'm still tired and force myself to stay awake. Both of them asked to meet up on Wednesday. My sister's exact message was, "Hey, I know you probably don't want to hear from me right now, but can you meet me and fiance? We want to talk, and we want you to properly hear us out. The situation you found us in was not the most ideal situation to put you in a good headspace to talk about it right then and there. Please let us explain. I love you and you're my sister and I don't want to lose you, please." I think it's too late. It was too late from whenever this affair started or even when you started getting intimate desires for my fiance. I miss my sister, but according to what I saw, the sister I miss and whoever my sister is now are not the same person. I haven't talked to anyone yet except the one friend I'm currently staying with at the moment. I'm scared I'll be seen as a failure of a future wife, but now I don't even think I want to be a wife anymore, but I guess I'd rather share to strangers than people who know me personally. I apologize again. First off, you do not have to apologize. You have been through trauma. This is very emotionally traumatic. You are allowed to feel very bad and to process this grief because it seems like your relationship is over, not just with your fiance, but this may have irreparably damaged your relationship with your sister. So you are allowed to grieve. This is normal. For anyone who's been through this kind of stuff, it is okay to feel grief. It does not make you a failure. The other thing I'll say is that this fiance does not deserve you. You're doing and making all these concessions for this person that it sounds like you may not have even been truly happy with in the long run to begin with. Or maybe it's just the way you're putting it after what you've been through. Either way, this person has hurt you and you're allowed to process this however you want. And if you want to talk to them, you can. If you don't want to talk to them, don't talk to them until you feel ready. But give yourself time, folks. When you go through hurt like this, give yourself time to grieve, to process. But also, I would say, talk to people you can trust. Like, it is good, I think, personally, to be able to vent it out and have unbiased third parties give opinions, but the internet's going to give you a ton of opinions, now mine included. But really, talk to friends and family that you can really trust, and they might help give you a better perspective. It may even be beneficial to talk to a therapist, but sometimes for personal stuff like this, it can help for it to be someone you more personally know. But whatever it is, you are a valuable person, worthy of love in a relationship with someone who will treat you right and who has some of the same goals and stuff as you. So yeah, just I hope things have gotten better. Story 3. My pre-cal teacher thinks he knows everything about female bodies. I have PCOS, and while I was in my pre-calculus class, I unexpectedly started my period. I raised my hand to go to the bathroom, but my teacher said no because he was teaching. Reasonable, I guess. But then, when we're doing independent work, I had finished early and asked to go to the bathroom once again. He said no. I asked again 10 minutes later, and he still said no. Whenever the bell rang, I had bled through my blue jeans and blood stained my crotch area and a fair bit down the back of my thigh. I wrapped my jacket around my waist, gathered my things to try to rush to the nurse's office when he stops me. He tells me what I did was disrespectful. I explained I started my menstrual cycle because I'm quite blunt and don't feel like making up an excuse. He said that I wouldn't really have to go to the bathroom because women only lose 6 tablespoons of blood during their period. In addition, he said periods only last 4 days, so it wasn't a big deal anyway. And when I said I was concerned about the other students smelling my blood since I bleed quite heavily, he said blood doesn't stink, but then made an offhanded comment of me smelling metallic today. After being lectured by Mr. I Know Everything About Women for 13 minutes after the bell rang and already being late to my lunch, I went to the nurse's office and she gave me a change of clothes and a pass to go to class. That teacher deserves to be fired. The end. I don't care. I know other people will say that's too harsh. No, that's not too harsh. I've spoken about it many times here. Teachers, you don't get to decide when people's bodies get to evacuate stuff. Be it period blood, be it pee or duty, I don't care. If people have to go to the bathroom, you let them go, okay? But also, to be like lecturing a girl on this kind of stuff, holy crap, what an absolute idiot and a-hole. I hate this teacher. I hope he gets fired. Genuinely. I hope he loses his job and learns a gosh dang lesson about it, because clearly he has not learned very much. This man is a teacher. How can you be this ignorant and also be teaching people? I guess he's a math teacher. No offense to math teachers. Some of my favorite teachers were math teachers, but some of you need to stay in your own friggin' lane. Story 4. Am I the a-hole for refusing my sister-in-law and her request to baptize her child during our wedding? I dated my fiancé for 5 years before we tied the knot. I have a great relationship with his parents and siblings, except one of his sisters, the golden child of the family. She's annoying, but whatever. It's fine. I've been able to keep her out of the way for the most part as her family lives out of state. So my boyfriend and I got engaged and everything is going great, planning with both sides of our family. Until sister-in-law, the last minute, requests that she and her family baptize their daughter during our ceremony. She even called our priest, and he'd agreed to combine the ceremonies. What? I said no for several reasons, none of which were good enough, and I was apparently being unreasonable and selfish. My reasons? We're Catholic, and weddings are usually an hour. Tacking on a baptism would either make the ceremony longer or take time away from our ceremony. Our wedding was an evening affair, and the reception was only going to be about 2 hours, so even if it lasted 30 minutes, baptism and their photos afterward, that would cut our reception down to an hour and a half. Her wedding/reception was an all-day affair, FYI. The baby would be in the church, in the wedding photos, and at the reception, so seriously, who would focus on another wedding couple when there's a first grandchild nearby? Her reasoning: all the family would already be gathered for our wedding, and it would be a good time for them, her family, to have it. And shouldn't I be accommodating to a first-time mother? They'd only invite about 4 to 6 additional people to our wedding, strangers to us, and it'd be easier on them because we'd already have the venue and food for their short guest list, which we'd be paying for. It's the first grandchild and important to her family. I guess I wasn't part of it yet and not included in this sentiment. My fiancé didn't have a strong preference either way, but supported how I felt on the matter. I stuck to my guns and said no, but we offered a compromise. We said we'd delay our honeymoon trip, and they could have the baptism the next Sunday morning during Mass. I thought it was a great compromise, but sister-in-law was not thrilled. So that's what we ended up doing, but she still brought baby girl in full white satin lace to the wedding and was front and center in all the photos. And they brought their 4 to 6 extra friends to our reception without asking first. We never made a fuss about it. My issue is this: I still get crap from this sister-in-law, and it's been a couple years since the wedding. Snippy remarks made when it's only the two of us around, passive-aggressive comments in front of others, Bridezilla labels tossed my way, a cold shoulder when I try to talk to her at holidays, etc. Like, seriously, it was years ago, and she basically got what she wanted, so why am I being treated like an a-hole? Am I the a-hole? Edit to address repeated questions. When this first came up, I said no. My husband took over handling this completely from there. He worked with his mom and sister. I didn't have to deal with anything besides initially saying no. Husband was point of contact after that. Granted, we didn't know she'd still show up with her guests to the reception or knew what her daughter was dressed in, but at that point we were having a good time at our reception and were focusing on ourselves. I only figured out she'd invited her friends when I saw the photos later. I don't know if she ever offered to pay because I wasn't in the conversation at that point. It happened right before our wedding, and Hubs and mother-in-law didn't want me stressed out. It was a short evening reception with a buffet. We had about 200 people total. Her passive-aggressive comments in the following years were very subtle. If she said something rude, or if I or my husband called her out on it, which he did, she claimed we simply misunderstood her. The rude comments or snubs she gave me directly in private, she'd also claim I misunderstood her or was blowing an innocent comment out of proportion. My husband has stood up for me, but our interactions with her are brief and only once or twice a year, so I'm not dedicating a lot of time to trying to have a great relationship with her. She's a narcissist, and I refuse to give her any drama to feed her addiction. It just struck me as odd that she's hung on to this incident for so long, and I began to question if I might have inadvertently been the A, hence this post. People, stop trying to make other people's weddings about you. Stop it! I don't even like weddings very much. I think that they're ridiculous this day and age and should really be pruned down, but I still respect them. If I go to someone's wedding, it's about them. It's not about the mother of the bride or the father or whatever. It's not about the family members. It's not about a newborn baby. It's a wedding. It is a big, very expensive event that people think is important. And if they think it's important, then it's important to them. Stop trying to wedge other crap into it and then being all offended when people are like, no, it's our wedding. Do it a different time. To this sister-in-law, what a jerk. Yeah, I don't blame you for not wanting a connection with her. And honestly, every time she says these little comments, like, just think up your own. Think up your own. Start a war. I know I say don't start these little wars with people, but do it. Start a feud. If she has a snippy little rude comment that you can that she can dismiss and be like, oh, you just misunderstood. Start bringing those to her, being like, oh yeah, I'd hate to be the kind of person who interrupted other people with my baby all the time. I'd hate to be the kind of person who tried to take over other people's events because of my baby. I would never want to be that kind of an absolute gaping, crap-filled a-hole. So mad today. Story 5. Today I effed up by viewing my date's TikTok page at 2 a.m. Okay, so I meet this cute boy on a dating app. We exchange messages for a while, follow each other on Instagram, chat throughout the day, and I get a date in a few days. Super excited for it. Later on, it's like 2 a.m., I don't know, I go back and look at his profile again because I'm excited for the date. He's already gone to bed like 2 hours ago, but I'm a night owl. Now on his dating profile, he has some pics of him and also a TikTok video of his cat. Green flags all around. I love cats. I'm brand new to TikTok. I made my account like a week prior to post a video of me playing my new musical instrument. I've had a couple notifs of X viewed your profile, but haven't paid much attention. Seeing the cat video on his dating page, I think to myself, sweet, his cat has a TikTok. I could use some cat videos right now. Without thinking, I pop open TikTok and find that cat's page and start to scroll. Just at that moment, I get an X viewed your TikTok profile notif. I die inside. He'll know it's me because my TikTok is the same as my Discord. Silently withering. I like a video and follow the page so I don't look like a creep. Hopefully he still wants to date me in a few days, LOL. I'm confused. Is this bad? I genuinely, this is an F-up? Because he knows that you looked at his TikTok page? Look, if someone has a TikTok page, all they want is for other people to look at it and be like, here, look. I mean, it is literally an app designed to go, look at me, everybody, and you looked at him. You did the thing that he would want. I don't know. Is that embarrassing? Why is this an issue? I don't understand. I'm completely lost here. This seems fine. I'm sure. He put one of his TikTok videos on the dating profile. This is not an issue. Next story. Story 5. Relationship with former teacher. Help. I'm feeling really conflicted right now, and I want to get some opinions before I make any decisions. Writing this whole situation out makes it sound unreal, but I'm trying to give the full picture. Some background. I'm a rising senior at a private boarding high school and turned 17 in January. During junior year, we had an interim teacher, let's call him A, who taught for over a semester while our usual AP literature teacher was on maternity leave. A is 22, straight out of a prestigious college, and basically everything I could want in a man. I had a major crush on him, hot, extremely intelligent, and very polite. Our relationship was strictly teacher-student for many months, but I'd attend office hours a lot, and a couple of my friends, both guys and gals, started an informal book club with him. I was a good student in his class, tried extra hard on the essays, and generally established a friendly rapport. Fast forward to early May, and my parents are throwing a grad party for my older sister. Turns out that A is the son of one of their friends from college, so he turns up at the venue. Me and my friends went to say hi, and I ended up alone with him in the weird pagoda/porch featuring thing. I am literally effing dying of embarrassment while I write this, but I ended up giving him an awkward sort of peck on the lips. He very gently removed himself from the situation, and I wanted to dig a hole and die. Things got super awkward at school and I avoided him, but 2 weeks ago I got an email from A asking to talk. I go to his office after school and he asks about college plans, etc. Then we have a nice convo about pros and cons of being an English major. I say something stupid about the elephant in the room and he apologizes, for doing or saying anything untoward. He gives me his phone number and tells me to call if I need any help with college essays, so I thank him and leave, thinking that's the end of it. I text him a few times after school ends for help with scholarship apps, and we have some more chats. Lo and behold, crush comes back. But then, out of the blue on Friday, I get a text asking to meet up at a bookstore. I'm effing giddy, so I drive there and he gives this speech about being conflicted but respecting my intellect and wanting to see what kind of places I'll go. I end up kissing again and we agree to text. So that's where I'm at. I can't tell if I'm a girl being groomed who can't recognize it, or whatever this has the potential to become a respectful relationship. On one hand, I feel incredibly lucky. I'm not exactly inexperienced with intercourse, and I like to think that I know what kind of guy I'm into. A fits all the criteria. Conversations with him are always deep, and we have basically the same taste in literature. I also feel bad about thinking this way, but I know that A could be incredibly helpful in the college application process. On the other hand, there's a 5-year age gap and some unusual dynamics. He doesn't think he'll be teaching again next year. Does that make it better? But he has an internship lined up with a publishing firm in my city. I feel that he's always been respectful towards me, and the only time we kissed were when I made a move. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I know that 5 years isn't a huge age gap for most relationships once you're adults, but first off, you're 17. He is 22. No. When I was 22, I was like set up on I was 21 or 22 and I was set up on a date with an 18-year-old. And when I found out she was 18, I didn't even have to find out. It was just like, me and this person, there's already kind of a world of difference. Like those years right after high school have a pretty big shift in how a person is. But let's just say that you are more mature for your age or whatever, where you line up in that regard. There's still the fact that he is in kind of an authority figure position with you and has been. And that doesn't mean that nothing could maybe happen in the future, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I could get over it. But especially at the time, he's been your teacher. He's in a position of authority. That's a terrible place for a relationship to be starting off. I think you just leave it be and let yourself do a little more growing up before you pursue anything. And he needs to be much better about just being like, oh, no, this cannot be. Like, yuck, no, I don't like it. Sorry. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.